Human resources policies.
What is the function of human resources policies? Human resource policies are meant to provide frameworks for an organization within which consistent decisions can be made, and through which equity in the way of people are treated can be promoted. The implementation of strong HR policies can help an organization demonstrate, both internally and externally, that it meets the requirements for diversity, ethics, and training required in today's workplace, and meets its commitments regarding regulation and corporate governance of employees. HR policies set out obligations, standards of behavior, and document disciplinary procedures. Among many other things, their specific function can vary widely, including but not limited to providing clear communication between an organization and its employees regarding their condition of employment, forming a basis for treating all employees fairly and equally, setting and managing employee expectations, establishing guidelines for supervisors and managers, forming a basis for developing the employee handbook, communicating the organization's goals and values, creating a basis for regularly reviewing possible changes that affect employees, providing a how-to on how to apply policies across all levels of an organization, forming a context of various programs such as supervisor training programs and employee onboarding and orientation programs, ensuring all policies are aligned to legal requirements and best practices, creating a common and healthy working environment, giving a clear picture of career growth in the organization.
Why is it important to have defined human resources policies in place? Defined human resources policies in the workplace should be a principal objective for any human resource department. In a 2018 small business compliance survey conducted by Comply, it was found that while 84% of businesses offered employee handbooks and formal written policies, and 85% required its employees to acknowledge receipt of these policies, there were some essential policies not stipulated clearly within the workplace. For example, 56% of these small businesses did not have a formal weapons policy in the workplace, and 47% did not have a social media policy. Modern workplaces should not have employee manuals that only cover a handful of the key issues in the workplace. With the constantly changing and modernizing the workplace, human resources policies should be able to reflect the shifts that are occurring. The importance of keeping current, ethical, and effective human resources policies can be outlined as follows. Human resources policies ensure every employee of an organization is looked after, their needs are respected, and proper benefits are made available to them for their work. Human resources policies help to address complaints, problems, and grievances of employees and outline how to solve them appropriately. They help protect employees from the ramification of colleagues' poor behavior and even from the organization itself. They help to train and develop employees who are consistent with the needs of the organization. They help employees receive adequate and fair compensation. They help to maintain discipline in the workplace, and they provide paid vacations and holidays to eligible employees.
Essential human resources policies. Before establishing HR policies in your organization, you must first be aware of any regional laws relating to employee policies. Some may require employers to communicate workplace information to employees in writing. In the absence of specific stipulation, such as this one, employers should implement policies that fill in the gaps, such as a policy that communicate company expectation and benefits. The content of your organization handbook will depend on a number of factors including the organization size, location, and industry. There are several policies that all organizations should include in their handbook, some of which are outlined first. However, depending on your business, you may also need to include any number of the listed trending company policies for employees in your employee handbook.
9 must have human resources policies. At-will employment policy. This policy reiterates that both an employer and employee can terminate the employment relationship at any time for any reason, providing said reason is lawful. Should aim to permanently display this statement in the beginning of your employment handbook. Anti-harassment and non-discrimination policy. These policies prohibit harassment and discrimination from taking place in the workplace. These are always governed by federal, state, and local provisions, so it is important to review the applicable laws and account for all the appropriate protections when stipulating this policy. Sexual harassment policy. Especially in the modern workplace, sexual harassment is a high-profile concern. Informing the educating employees through an up-to-date sexual harassment policy is critical, and some regions may even require that your organization have one in place. Safeguard your company by clearly communicating zero tolerance guidelines for unwanted, unwelcome, or inappropriate sexual comments or actions. Employment classifications policy. It is an HR best practice to clearly define employment classification. This can include full-time, part-time, exempt, or non-exempt. This can dictate the eligibility for benefits and overtime pay. So it should be a principal policy to clearly stipulate all employee classification. Leave and time off benefits policy. This policy should address your organization rules and procedures regarding holidays, vacation, sick, and all other types of time off benefits. It should also cover leave required by law, such as voting leave, family leave, and domestic violence leave. Review your regular laws to ensure all leaves requirements are included in your HR policies. Meal and breakfast periods. A clear policy on meal and breakfast periods ensure employees are well informed on the frequency and duration of said breaks, as well as any additional rules or restrictions relating to them. Regional laws are stipulate specification relating lactation breaks, rest period, and meal periods, so ensure your policies align with those. Timekeeping and pay policy. The timekeeping policy keeps employees informed of the appropriate method for recording their time work, as well as the importance of accurately recording their time. Policies on the pay periods communicate the frequency of pay days to employees and the method available for receiving payment and any special procedures that may take place should a payday fall on a holiday or when the employee is absent for work. Safety and health policy. This policy describes safety and emergency procedures of the workplace and require employees to report any related injuries immediately. There are several regulations under the Occupational Health and Safety Act that requires employees to have specific policies in place if certain workplace hazard exists. For example, if certain chemicals are present in the workplace, a company should have a hazard communication program as part of their health and safety policy. Employee conduct, attendance, and punctuality policy. Attendance policies clearly communicate when employees must be ready to work. stipulating their scheduled start time each day, and providing procedures for informing their supervisors of unscheduled absences or late arrivals.
6 trending human resources policies. Number 1, weapons in the workplace policy or zero tolerance for workplace violence. Employers have an obligation to protect employees from all forms of workplace violence, including physical violence, harassment, intimidation, and even disruption. Addressing weapons and violence policies can be combined into your general harassment or safety policies or can be communicated on their own. Number 2, remote workers policy. Many modern workplaces are allowing more and more of their employees to work remotely from home or some other location outside the main office. However, not all jobs and employees are well suited for remote work, so it is important to clarify your organization's position on remote work itself. Number 3, bring your own device or BYOD policy. As more employees began to use their own devices for business, including phones, laptops, and tablets, privacy and security matters need to be taken into consideration. There are also concerns of any personal devices being lost or stolen. A policy relating to the use of personal devices should be part of any modern workplace. Number 4, social media policy. A social media policy can be what protects your company's reputation both online and beyond. Despite its relatively modern nature, you should still draft this policy to withstand scrutiny from your regional labor relations board. Number 5, drug and alcohol policy. Due to the expanding laws legalizing marijuana use, drug and alcohol policies are becoming more and more relevant to the modern workplace. Aim to keep in mind any regional laws relating to specific substances when drafting this policy. Number 6, updated confidentially policy. Broader policies that require employees to keep all information confidential are no longer effective due to the changing nature of how information gets shared. It is important to be specific in your confidentiality policies, excluding any items that a labor board may not deem private, such as wages and working conditions.
Your organization needs effective human resources policies. Just like societies need laws to establish order and common understanding, all business need strong and effective HR policies, regardless of your company size, location, or industry. HR issues will inevitably arise and require you to dispel time and energy away from other business activities in order to address them. Having a strong set of HR policies in place can help alleviate this load, systematically setting expectation for performance and growth and carving a pattern for disciplinary measures and operational guidelines to keep employees on track toward success.